Hey guys, Shanna here. So this is an interesting spot in the summer of 2020. I'm getting so many questions about homeschooling. So if you are one of the many people who are considering converting to this crazy way of life, I just wanted to take a minute and give you the heads up, give you our pros and cons list to help you map out your own pros and cons list so that you can decide if homeschooling is really right for you and your family. Before we go any further today, please scroll down to the bottom corner. Hover over that logo and it will give you the option to subscribe. By subscribing, you're letting YouTube know that this content is valuable and you'd like to see more of it. Therefore, they'll suggest it and help me out. Scroll down, turn on that little bell symbol and turn on notifications for this channel. Give it a thumbs up and let us know if you like what we're showing. So I am going to start with the pros. It's always great to start on a happy note, right? For our family, when we began homeschooling, our list of pros was probably a little smaller. But now that we've become so much more experienced with homeschooling, as we're further into our homeschooling journey, our pros list just seems to get longer and longer, and we've seemed to manage those cons a bit better. I would tell you that there have been times where it's definitely more of a fine balance than it is right now. Right now, we're in a sweet spot. But we're also about to start homeschooling our second child, so we'll see if we can keep up this momentum. So, number one on my list of pros is that you, as the parent, get to tailor make the education that your child receives. And what I mean by that is if they are ahead or behind in any kind of subject, you can adjust the level of that subject that they're getting. If they need more help in math, you know that you need to provide that. If they are ahead in math, you can move them up a level. Homeschooling provides you an amazing freedom to tailor make the educational experience for your child. And you can do it for each one of your kids because they're probably having different struggles and successes. So this allows you to really make the education in the style that your child is best going to thrive at. So if that means using more apps or more online resources, you can do that. If they learn wonderfully by playing games, throw in some more games. You have the power. So being able to tailor make the educational experience for your kid is way at the top of our pros list. Something that is very near and dear to my heart, probably not as much to everyone else, is that I can take vacations when I want to. I can travel when I want to. I don't have to worry about excused or unexcused absences or tardies, and vacation during the school year is much cheaper. You can save so much money: Disney, airfare, cruises, flights, international trips, so much money simply by being able to travel when school is in session. Another pro on my list is that I can make my own schedule with schooling. So I work from home and I used to work in a salon, and we've homeschooled since I went into the salon. One of the perks of being able to homeschool is the fact that I can adjust our schedule as needed. So we don't have to be up and out of the house by 6:30 in the morning, which is great because my kids tend to sleep until about 8. I don't have to worry about making it there or making it back at a certain time in order to pick them up. This just isn't something we have to worry about. I'm able to structure our day to include all of the work that I need to get done, our time together, and allow her time to work on things on her own. So by homeschooling, we have 100% control over our schedule, which is wonderful. Another pro on my list, and your list may be different, is that I can be assertive over the choices for things that involve my child. Because it's my choice. I don't have to justify extra help needed to an administrative board or to a teacher. We're in Texas. Texas is pretty hands-off with homeschooling laws. You have a lot of freedom here in Texas, and that's the way I like it. A pro of homeschooling is that it gives you the opportunity and the chance to reset a struggle. You don't make it to the end of 6 weeks or 9 weeks before you find out that your kid has a struggle in math or they're not retaining their spelling words. I can see that in real time and adjust our strategy as needed immediately. She then doesn't have the chance to fall behind. We are able to custom make the resolutions right on the spot to suit her best so that she can go on learning. If we need to spend more time on a lesson, the class hasn't moved on without her. The teacher has plenty of time and energy to assist her with her struggle. I don't have to worry about anyone else's struggle or keeping everyone else on pace. It's one-on-one, the way that we like it. Something I view as a pro of homeschooling, and I believe many homeschoolers actually choose this as their main reason to homeschool, is that you have the control over the social settings that your kid is in. Now, we have not chosen to homeschool because I don't want her exposed to, a crazy worldly view of things. We're pretty liberal. As most of you already know, if you've been here for any period of time, we are secular homeschoolers. So I choose our curriculum based on what I feel is best. I don't adhere to a strict religious undertone in our curriculum choices. I feel like as a family, we are pretty honest with her about the world and pretty liberal. However, as a parent, I am thankful that she is not in public school and exposed to all of the pressures and all of the peer things that come with that. I by no means am trying to keep her sheltered or locked in a closet. I just appreciate that I have a little bit more control over where some of those outside influences are coming from because we homeschool. In this day and age, so many of those things with young children start earlier and earlier, and I'm glad and thankful as we have an 8-year-old girl, and it's starting to get a little touchy, that we are able to at least know the names of the children and the parents that she comes in contact with. A pro of homeschooling, in my opinion, is that the resources available are amazing. We have had the opportunity to take some classes with marine biologists at a local aquarium as part of their homeschool day. Almost every large venue in our area has homeschool days and homeschool resources, art class at the art museum. And that's just some of them. The resources available to homeschooling students are amazing. They are no longer, locked in the house to be made kind of secluded and awed by the choices of their parents. We are out in the world all the time, and the different things that our children can see and experience are truly amazing when given the freedom to do so. A pro of homeschooling is that we do not have to take standardized testing here in Texas. So it is a big debate and issue. I feel like in every single state across the nation, standardized testing, Common Core, teachers teaching to the tests. That's just not something we have to do. It's not a pressure we have to concern ourselves with. And while I know that she'll be able to experience that later on with SAT exams, AP exams, college, I understand that. But she'll be much more prepared for that, in my belief, when she's middle to late teens. That's not today. My 8-year-old doesn't need that stress, and I'm thankful that we don't have it. That is a pro, in my opinion. One of the wonderful pros, and it's not something that I would have necessarily thought would make my list until I started making my list, is the togetherness that it allows us to have. I know what's running through her head at 2 o'clock because she's here to tell me. It's wonderful that we can sit down with both my 8-year-old and my now new 4-year-old and read geography lessons together. It allows us a chance to do these things and to learn as a family. My kid is super excited to share what she's learning in history, and it helps that we've all been here to hear the lesson. I really appreciate the togetherness that this opportunity has afforded our family. A super big perk, in my opinion, is, and I hear horror stories from our friends who attend a more traditional school model, and that is that they've been at school all day and work all day, and then they come home and they have to battle through homework. So when you're doing that, your job is to help your child through something that you quite possibly have no idea what the expectation is. I don't have to deal with that. We do our lesson and there's nothing left to take home. If we've done our lesson and then there's things for her to work on her own, I at least include in to the final result expectation so I know how best to handle that. But we are not working on anything as far as a traditional homework thought in the evenings when we have time as a family. Homeschooling has afforded Amelia some amazing opportunities to keep up with her extracurricular activities. When she was bitty, we started in gymnastics and then we transitioned over to dance. And she does dance several nights a week. She's also a member of the homeschool performing group that is at that dance studio, as I've mentioned in other videos, where we attend has a large homeschooling network. The dance studio that we are at is actually non-competitive, so they do not go to competitions and fight it out for trophies. They don't do that. What they do is they take their dance to performances out in our community. They share their gift of dance with the world. And so in doing that, there's certain things that come up. Monday at noon, there may be a special luncheon, and she's had the opportunity to be able to go and perform with a lot of her friends in the middle of the day, which makes it super extra special for them. So having more freedom and energy for the extracurriculars is a great bonus in our homeschooling life. So now let's flip this and go to what I view are the cons of homeschooling. Number one, homeschooling is expensive. There are ways to do it pretty inexpensively, but whether or not you are spending money, you are certainly spending time. And my time, your time is worth money. So homeschooling is expensive both monetarily and with your investment of time. It takes a great deal of time to homeschool your child because it is not just the lesson, it's also getting ready, sourcing the materials, making sure you have everything for the experiments, keeping your other kiddo entertained. It is expensive, and that's a con, but it's one that we are willing to shoulder because we really feel like homeschooling is definitely our path. A con, you have to be very disciplined. There's not a teacher working this out for you. You have to do it. And a lot of curriculums will have a schedule and lesson plans and tell you what to say, but you have to do it. You have to be disciplined and honest with yourself about whether or not you're going to. So I said that a pro was that you have the opportunity to reset those struggles. The con is that you're responsible for resetting those struggles. So if your kid is really miserable, guess what? You can't call that teacher in. That's on you. You have to deal with that. And sometimes it is hard. This is when I suggest you reach out for help. Your spouse, your cousin, your aunt, uncle, teacher hire a tutor, I don't know. But it's on your job to figure out how to fix it. A con of homeschooling is that you are with your kids pretty much all the time with no breaks, okay? There are a lot of ladies who drop their kiddos off at school at 8 o'clock in the morning and they don't pick them up till 3. They've got nothing in the middle of the time. When you homeschool, that is not you. Okay? You're it. You're with them a lot. That can be hard. I don't care who you are, how much you love them, how cute and adorable they are. Kids are hard. And being with them all the time is hard. So just remember the self-care. Take care of yourself. Take care of them. Do your best to get some breaks when you can. But take into account if you're making the decision to homeschool or not, that it's you. All those 8 hours they're not at school, they're with you. Downside, definite con, is other people's opinions. And the reason that this is a con is not because I care about their opinions, but that everyone you know and people you don't know feel real secure sharing their opinions with you. It is not their business. It is not their decision, but here they are talking you up about it. So a con is, 1, that you have to hear it. 2, they frequently expect a response and that you just have to endure it. It takes up your time and is miserable. So get ready, buckle up. I hope to be sharing a video pretty soon about the best answers to some of those common criticisms. So the last con that I have on my list, and I am sure whether you are a seasoned homeschooler or you are someone who is looking to homeschool, you've had this thought. It's all on you. What if you're messing them up? This uncertainty will never stop plaguing you. And let me tell you, you're a parent. It wouldn't stop anyway. If it wasn't about choosing how to educate your children, it would be about your shoe choice or your dinner choice or how much your time you're spending with them or not spending with them. If they're getting enough fruits and veggies, if they're doing enough exercise. So it doesn't matter what it is, you will have those nagging doubts. You will have the concerns that you're messing them up forever. And you're not. But the con is that you're gonna think you might be. And there's really no way to know if you are until they're grown adults and you hope they're great people in the world. So until then, feel free to come back over and I'll commiserate with you and we will give each other the pep talks we need to get through this. So you may have noticed that I have a lot more pros on my list than cons. And guess what? That's why we homeschool. If it were flipped, if I had a lot more cons than pros, I would not be here talking to you about homeschooling unless it was telling you how we quit. These are my list, okay? These are my pros and my cons, and you need to do it for yourself. Just like in anything in the world that you would ever be making a pros and cons list for, if the pros don't outweigh the cons, if the value is not greater than the risk, please don't do it. But for me and my family on our homeschooling journey, the pros and the rewards are so much greater than the cons. And so we've chosen to go into our 4th year of homeschooling and take on the task of homeschooling our little one as well. So we are ready and we are excited. I do recommend you make this list often. Pay attention to what's going well and what's not. If you get overwhelmed, make your list, write it out every single time fresh by hand. And if the cons outweigh the pros, seriously reconsider. There's no shame in quitting if it's not best serving your family, yourself, and your kiddo. So for now, our pros tip the scales greatly. We are happy in our homeschooling journey. Like I said before, we're in a little bit of a sweet spot. Looking forward to rolling into the 2020-2021 school year and homeschooling both a pre-K year and a 3rd grader. If you found anything today informative or helpful, please scroll down, hit that big red subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you can know when we've got new things up, and give this video a big ol' thumbs up. Thanks again.